Myanmar has plunged into violence and chaos. Despite a bloody crackdown, resistance against military rule continues. Some protesters have taken up arms as part of what's being called the People's Defense Forces. Dozens of ethnic armed groups have already been fighting the military for decades. Now, some of the most powerful ones have joined forces with anti-coup demonstrators and training them in armed combat. So who are Myanmar's ethnic militias and what do they want? Myanmar has a complex history. It has around 135 ethnic groups. These are grouped under 8 major ethnic races defined by the regions they live in. The Buddhist Burma make up 2/3 of the population. The others are Kachin, Shan, Chin, Rakhine, Gaya, Gayin, and Hmong. The country spent more than 120 years under British rule, and some argue that this was when ethnic identity strengthened.
Many people actually intermixed, and identity was much more fluid. Ethnic groups who lived in different parts of the country started to see themselves in those terms because the British began to organize society in that way. Benefits would also come to those who were identified as being minorities. Ethnic minorities were often given educational opportunities.
After World War II, the country gained independence. A civil war broke out not long after.
You had very different groups. Some wanted to work with the government, others wanted to break away and form their own state.
Revolutionary leader Aung San promised ethnic autonomy with the Banglong Agreement. But he was killed 6 months before independence, so it was never realized. In 1962, the military staged a coup and set up a junta which focused on pushing a united national Burma identity. A citizenship law in the 1980s also excluded certain ethnic groups, including the Rohingyas. All these have led to growing resentment among the ethnic groups against the military junta, leading them to build their own militias. It's also led to conflict among the groups themselves. There have been various attempts to reach a peace deal, and in 2015, a nationwide ceasefire was agreed, but not all ethnic armed groups participated. That year, Aung San's daughter, Aung San Suu Kyi, came to power, and her government continued the peace process. But the military coup in February has brought an end to that process. Some ethnic armed groups like the Karen National Liberation Army and the Kachin Independence Army have launched attacks. In response, the military has carried out air and ground strikes.
After the February 1st coup, there has been this general awakening across the different ethnic lines, class, culture, religion, race.
Some feel that People's Defense Forces and the ethnic armed groups could form a united army. But it's too early to tell if, after decades of fighting separately, they can work together. And even if the ethnic armies do unite, they will be up against a more established and organized force.